the objections. At the end of that, I asked for the top of the guidelines based on the fact what happened in that case, the fact that he had absconded for a year before we were able to go forward. Mr. Gramuthi argued for 120 days. And Your Honor ordered 6 months in jail. We are back here today. Mr. Prentice is doing terrible on his probation. He has used meth multiple times and failed to report. The recommendation is an unsuccessful discharge. He has 179 days credit and they're asking for 30 more days. Again, I would ask the court to sentence him to the top end of the guidelines. He delivered methamphetamines. He pled to possession of methamphetamine. He absconded for a year, and then he just basically thwarted all of the court's orders, even though he got all of those breaks, and even though the court ordered 5 months less than I had requested at sentencing. I don't think he deserves any more breaks, and I think an unsuccessful discharge with the top end of the guidelines is appropriate. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Garmenty.
Judge, I would just simply update the court that Mr. Prentice did turn himself into treatment, complete rehab successfully. I would ask that the court follow the recommendation in this matter and then discharge Mr. Prentice unsuccessfully. Thank you.
Mr. Prentice, anything that you wanted to say?
I'd like to begin with, yes, I did run for a minute. I was heavy in my addiction, my heroin addiction at the time. Then the bond or the team, one of the fugitive recovery teams, ended up going to my mom's house. I reached out to my mom, or my mom reached out to me, I'm sorry, and I called them back and I turned myself in. It was the day before Thanksgiving opened, or Thanksgiving Day was, or no, the courts opened up after Thanksgiving. I'm not trying to run. I understand, I messed up. I didn't report 3 days before I came to court. I was coming to court. I was late. I called the courthouse. They said that they were going to let you guys know. I don't think they did. I had court later that day. I'm sorry. I accepted my consequences. So.
All right. I did read through the updated report. There was attached to that the original PSI, so I read through that as well, just to familiarize myself with the underlying facts, why we're on probation, charges that started this. Also, all the information in the updated report about your probation employment, the issues that arose. So the court's well versed in all the facts here. I take all that into account on what both counsel had to say here today. I think the key here is, originally you were provided with an opportunity to avoid a fair amount of jail time through probation. That didn't work out certainly the way the court hoped that it would. I'm sure the way that you at least started out with good intentions, things didn't go well. For the purposes of accounting for your conduct, as well as the deterrent effect, I think it's appropriate, number one, to discharge you from probation. I don't see further benefit to you or the community by continuing that, and imposing some jail time again because you were given the opportunity to avoid that. Didn't. I think that some jail time at the high end of the guidelines is appropriate, again, for the reasons I stated. So the original guidelines were 0 to 11. That's 330 days. So the court is going to impose 330 days in Crawford County Jail. You do have credit for 173 days served. The court is going to discharge you unsuccessfully from the probation and preserve any outstanding fines and costs. You do have the ability to seek appeal of this sentence. There should be some appellate rights there. Ms. Cole, can you acknowledge receipt? Mr. Prentice, these papers are going to explain to you how to appeal this sentence, as well as how to request a court of appointed attorney to help you with that.
Right here. It just says that you received them. Okay. It's 218.
Yep.
I'm going to take the top copies on both of them that he signed, provide those to the clerk. I'm going to give him 2 copies on each file to take to the jail so he can review them with his attorney. And I will keep 1 copy myself.
It's just needed that there's, it's just a duplicate, but I have 2 sets sitting here.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Honor.
All right, Mr. Germerty, did you have any other files for today?
No, sir. And thank you for accommodating.
Okay.
me.
You're free to act at this time.
Thank you.
Mr. Trush, were you ready with either of your cases?
I am, Your Honor. Ms. Hooper's here.
Versus Hooper, case number 255374.
Eric, how can we act the people?
Thank you, Your Honor. Richard Church, appearing on behalf of Elizabeth Hooper.
Can you tell me the status of this file here today from the defense side?
Yes, Your Honor. This is our first hearing up here in circuit court. I did reach out to the prosecutor with some proposed alterations to the plea offer. Admittedly, she did get back to me late this morning, but I haven't had a chance to go over all of that and the scoring and such with my client. So I would ask the court to give us an adjournment for 30 days so that we can discuss what that means and how it affects our decisions.
Ms. Pope?
That is true. Defense counsel asked me to amend the offer. I rejected that request. I understand that he wants to go over that with his client, and this is a relatively new file. I wouldn't object to the adjournment. I will be pulling the plea at the next hearing.
Okay, so we'll set this for a plea here, plea hearing status conference in 30 days. So at that, between now and then, this will bring ready with the decision as to whether you want to accept any plea offer or go forward with trial. Okay. Spoke anything further on this file today?
No, thank you.
Mr. Church?
Nothing further.
And Mr. Trush, whenever you're ready with Mr. Meyer, just let Sarah know and we can get started anytime, okay?
Certainly. Thank you.
Off the record. Run record in People versus John Maher, case number 45354. The record should reflect that Mr. Maher is present here in the courtroom today. I can have counsel put your.
Your call on behalf of the people.
Thank you, Your Honor. Richard Trush, appearing on behalf of Mr. Maher.
Okay, this is the date and time set for sentencing in this case. Mr. Maher, you had a chance to go through the pre-sentence report and talk to Mr. Church about that.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Church, are there any additions, deletions, or corrections to that?
No, Your Honor.
You know, basically the scoring.
No.
Okay, we'll have any additions, deletions, or corrections?
No, Your Honor.
Jump this to the scoring.
No, Your Honor.
Anything on behalf of the people for allocation today?
I'm going to say I was surprised when I saw the recommendation for no jail, or I guess 30 days in advance, but no upfront jail. I did look through his criminal history, and even though he has 5 prior felonies, 4 prior misdemeanors, and this is a high severity felony, it appears that most of his criminal interactions with the justice system were old. He has taken this seriously and went to residential. We heard from, I believe it was his son at the last hearing. It sounds like he is taking this seriously. So I'd ask the court to follow the recommendation, and if he violates his probation, I suspect I'll be asking for a significant jail sentence. Thank you.
Your Honor, I do have a letter from the rehab he's in updating the court. And I just showed that to Ms. Coke.
Okay, anything else you'd like to say on behalf of Mr. Maher today?
Yes, Your Honor. I think if the court were to look at Mr. Maher's prior history, I think the court would see a very clear pattern, which is almost every one of his interactions with law enforcement is substance related. Even the ones that don't directly involve substances, I think he's likely to tell you are substance adjacent. It's bad decisions he was making while using substances. He is addressing the situation. He's addressing his needs there and doing so in a way that I don't think he has in the past. The letter there indicates some of the requirements of the program that he's in, and that he's close to completing. End of this month, I think actually it's about 10 days from now is when he's scheduled to complete the program that he's in. He plans to continue this. I think he's indicated to me he has about 4 months more that he intends to do or has been approved for at this point. So I think that the recommendation makes sense when you look at the steps that he's taking forward. This is something that he struggled with his whole life. And the court sees plenty of people who come in here who have struggled with substances their whole life. And many of them don't take the sort of steps that Mr. Maher has. He's taken significant steps to improve his life. And I think for us as we craft sentences, right, as we look at what should happen, there's obviously a punishment element to things, but I think the prospects of bringing somebody back into the fold and restoring someone to the community is huge. We don't have that opportunity a lot. I think we do have it here. The court heard from his son at the last hearing, and Mr. Maher will likely tell you he when all of this started, the idea that he was going to be able to have a relationship with his son again was something he wouldn't even imagine. But through the work that he's put in, he's got to that place. And so I would ask the court to follow the recommendation and give him the opportunity to continue the work that he's doing. Thank you.
Mr. Maher, anything you wanted to say?
Well, I'd like to, in a nutshell, I love my mother, God bless her soul. But, they have a thing called fetal alcohol syndrome, which I call doom from the womb syndrome, because my mother drank as I was in her womb. And so I feel like when I came out, I was already subject to being an addict, alcoholic. So then at 3 years old, my mother went to the grocery store she got groceries and 2 bottles of Boone's Farm. I was in the back of the station wagon sleeping, and then she went into my grandparents'. Well, little Johnny wakes up, finds the bottles of alcohol, and I drank a whole half a bottle of Boone's Farm. So at the age of 3, I'm smoking cigarettes and I'm on alcohol. So I'm literally a fiend at this point for tobacco and alcohol and even weed, because my brothers and cousins and everybody give me a hit once in a while. So fiending as I'm a kid is one thing, but then in 95 or 85, me, my mother, my 2 sisters, 2 other girls got into an accident here in Crawford County. A deputy sheriff ran into us, killed my mother. So nobody said, hey, let's put these kids in a treatment. Let's put these kids in a counseling. Let's get them a psychiatrist. Let's get them on the straight path. I self-destructed immediately from that point on. So then as time goes by, I get a career, but I'm still drinking, still using, and then I get married. And then my ex-mother-in-law intervenes after I get full custody from my ex-wife, intervenes and takes my children from me, puts kidnapping charges on me on top of it, and I beat that because I didn't kidnap my kids, And so I've had 14 years of hate in my heart for the officer that killed my mother. And I had 15 years of hate in my heart for my ex-mother-in-law that took my children. So literally about 28 years of hate in my heart. And hate creates a lot of animosity, and you just want to drown it out. The pain is unbearable. So I'm not using it for an excuse, but this is the excuse that I've come across, that I've used alcohol and drugs throughout my days. And like I said, it's been 25 years since my son's been in my life. And I've been spending 25 years trying to kill myself because I didn't know where they are. I didn't know where they were. I'm ordered to pay child support. I don't get to see my kids and I don't know where they are. So my will to live actually was gone 2 days prior to him calling me. I'm a strong individual, but I gave up. And I was ready to kill myself. And God told that kid to call me from Texas. And he rode all the way from on a motorcycle to be with me. He didn't know what he was coming across. I told him on the phone, I said, I'm in addiction right now, but I'm gonna get better. I'm gonna quit. I'm gonna do this. Because I had a will to live then. I actually got a purpose to stay clean and stay sober. Tragedies happen all the time. We all have trauma. Some people deal with them different than others. I've been hanging on to all that trauma and that pain for all these years. I got 3 folders of tools now. You probably get another one for the next couple of weeks of how to stay in recovery. Being sober is one thing. Anybody can get sober, but are you in recovery? Are you changing your life? Are you, putting the tools that you can use to make changes in your life, to not trigger, to not go back to, whole part of me. I lost my mom, I lost my kids, because that was me. I was like, I felt sorry for myself, but I had an excuse to use and do drugs. And today in my life, there is no excuse. There's no excuse whatsoever to do drugs. And I'm happy that this was all come to like this, because it showed me that I did need help, and I do need to be here for my son, and there is no turning back. And I just want to keep continuously work at being in recovery. I want to take my master's degree. I want to get a counselor's certificate. I want to help other addicts and alcoholics. And yeah, it's really a life-changing situation that I put myself through. Kind of like on accident, but yet on purpose, because the day he called me, I quit. I went into the treatment center 2 days clean. I didn't even get to detox because I was clean, because I told myself I got clean for him, but I want to stay clean for me. to be everything I can be. And God put me on this earth for some reason, not just to trim trees and be a tree trimmer, you know, maybe He's working through me to work through other people, to hear my story of, you know, my pain and suffering, my trauma, my loss, but overcome it. And to be able to just hold my head up high and stay clean and sober and be a part of a good community that I'm in right now. I'm in a great community. Safe step, beginning steps.
Okay, all right, thank you. I did read through the report, familiar with what happened in this case. I'm also familiar in terms of report background circumstances generally from that information. Certainly what you indicated here today gives me a little background. So I take all that into account along with what and looking at the recommendation. I do think the recommendation is appropriate in terms of the probation and holding jail time advance. I think demonstrated the motivation and will to get yourself into recovery and get yourself kind of help you move forward. I agree with Ms. Koch. You know, a lot of your history is kind of remotely in the past. So all of that convinces me, in addition to what the guidelines are, which are 0 to 7. Court isn't part of the guidelines and not imposing upfront jail time. I think all of that convinces me that it's appropriate to give you an opportunity through probation to stay on the right track to make this a long-term thing. And I hope that's the way things go. You certainly sound motivated. You've always presented yourself well in court, dressed nicely. All that indicates to me that you're taking this seriously. So I hope things do go positive for you over the next 18 months. I am going to hold jail time in abeyance if you successfully complete your probation, if you do all the things that you're doing and continue to do those things, then you'll never have to serve that jail time. If you don't, then then that'll be your penalty. To the extent that you need more motivation, I hope that will provide it. So the court is going to sentence you to probation for a period of 18 months. The court's going to adopt as the conditions of the probation all the terms and conditions that are listed in the report. The court is going to order that you serve 6 months in the Crawford County Jail with credit for 1 day served. That time to be held in abeyance to be served at the discretion of the court. In terms of fines and costs, there's a $130 crime victims assessment, court costs of $325, $350, $8 state cost, and supervision fee while you're on probation of $30 a month. Have the ability to seek an appeal of the sentence, and Mr. True should be surrounded with those appeals. Desire.
Just considered by the court.
Mr. Dyer, good luck to you.
Thank you very much, Your Honor. Thank you.
Did you give me one? Did you give me one? Okay.
Mr. Vernon and Mr. Erickson. Ready to go forward?
Yes, Judge.
Erickson, very nice to meet you. Congratulations on
Thank you.
graduating from law school and passing the bar exams.
Thank you.
We all know that it's no small feat.
Mr. Erickson actually was an attorney in Indiana for 2+ years.
Oh, okay.
He's just transferring here from there. So it was a character and fitness evaluation that had to get done
Well,
for retaking of the oath.
even that isn't easy.
No, that was probably
God.
more difficult.
Very rigorous, I recall that. Okay. All right. So I did review the motion. I reviewed the letter from the Board of Law Examiners. both of which are required, and so I find that's all in order. The only change that I'm making is, in my view, the oath that was submitted was not the correct oath for the state bar, so I went right to the state bar website and printed out what I viewed to be the appropriate oath for an attorney. Mr. Vernon, as the moving party here, is there anything you want to say for the record before we?
Your Honor, I'd simply ask that the court accept Mr. Erickson as a member of the state bar. It seems to be a qualified, hardworking individual who will exemplify the expectations and the goals of our association.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Erickson, if you raise your right hand, please. And repeat after me. I do solemnly swear or affirm
I do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Michigan,
and the Constitution of the State of Michigan,
that I will maintain the respect due to courts of justice
that I will maintain the respect due to courts of justice
and judicial officers,
and judicial officers,
that I will not counsel or maintain any suit or proceeding
that I will not counsel or maintain any suit or proceeding
which shall appear to me to be unjust,
which shall appear to me to be unjust,
nor any defense except such as I believe to be honestly debatable
nor any defense except such as I believe to be honestly debatable
under the law of the land,
under the law of the land,
that I will employ for the purpose of maintaining the causes confided to me,
that I will employ for the purpose of maintaining the causes confided to me,
such means only as are consistent with truth and honor,
such means only as are consistent with truth and honor,
and will never seek to mislead the judge or jury
and will never seek to mislead the judge or jury
by any artifice or false statement of fact or law,
by any artifice or false statement of fact or law,
that I will maintain the confidence and preserve inviolate the secrets of my client,
that I will maintain the confidence and preserve inviolate the secrets of my client,
and will accept no compensation in connection with my client's business,
and will accept no compensation in connection with my client's business,
except with my client's knowledge and approval,
except with my client's knowledge and approval,
that I will abstain from all offensive personality
that I will abstain from all offensive personality
and advance no fact prejudicial to the honor or reputation of a party or witness,
and advance no fact prejudicial to the honor or reputation of a party or witness,
unless required by the justice of the cause with which I am charged,
unless required by the justice of the cause with which I am charged,
that I will never reject from any consideration personal to myself
that I will never reject from any consideration personal to myself
the cause of the defenseless or oppressed,
the cause of the defenseless or oppressed,
or delay any cause for lucre or malice.
or delay any cause for lucre or malice.
I will in all other respects conduct myself personally and professionally
I will, in all other respects, conduct myself personally and professionally
in conformity with the high standards of conduct
in conformity with the high standards of conduct
imposed upon members of the bar
imposed upon members of the bar
as conditions for the privilege to practice law in this state.
as conditions for the privilege to practice law in this state.
That's it. Congratulations.
Thank
Shake your hand. Welcome to practice the law in Michigan.
Thank you.
And I have the order here. I'll sign that. Sarah will take care of the paperwork for you. Are you going to be practicing law in this court or?
I think so.
Okay, well, I look forward to seeing you in court.
Thank you. Likewise.
Thank you, Judge. Thank you, Sarah. Yes.
I'll just make a copy of it.
Sarah, does he need to sign that oath? I know that other one was signed in the
If
folder.
he just wants, do you have, can you wait? Okay. that, his judgment changed, that we can get headed down the road. I don't know what time your PPO hearing is.
3:15, I think, so yeah.
Okay, yep, let me just go grab that.